You guys hear me?
Hello. Yes, yes.
Okay, great.
Just gonna find all the buttons to allow everything.
I'm getting prepared, so I'm going to remain on off video.
That's fine.
Does that mean you're like putting on armor or something?
Yeah, war paint. No, truth be told, Jen reminded me of this. I'm like, oh yeah, shoot. So I'm like, oh, not going to rinse off.
Yeah, I don't recently I can't log into any of the town Zooms. It always flags me as fraudulent, so
And I don't think it's just, yeah, there's no one else on, but
okay,
Rachel, Jen, Dawn, me.
cool.
So do you want to know what I know about what to expect for tonight? Or
Sure.
is, um, so fairly, I'm just making sure. Yeah. From the intelligence gathered, they will try to not pass me and Lisa because of our mutual disrespect to the board. We have plenty of statements of fact ready for that. For example, apparently Al's harassment of a citizen is okay, but my getting angry at them is not. Like there's a lot of good examples about that. So
Okay.
we're all kind of waiting because there's lots of people who will speak, we think, and perhaps, it's better to hear from other people. We just it's more so the unexpected, right? Like, but again, we're not the only commission. There's four on there. Unfortunately, guys, I think you should. I mean, if you're interested, the tree bylaw is going to come up before that, and is also pretty controversial, from what I've heard on the planning board last night.
Yep.
So it's not that it won't be interesting to listen to, and obviously our rec director is being appointed.
Yeah, I'd say there's two appointments and then rec.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm being told to be there by 6:30 because they think they'll be ready for rec director by then. So,
No, I'll be there first. Yeah, I was going to get there actually around 6. We'll be a little later now,
okay.
but um,
Okay.
so everyone's kind of got their very calm statements to make. Um, I've heard a few of them, and they're great. So I have mine if I, you know, need to say it or if you need to say it, but we just don't know what to expect. So
Okay.
we all go in, treat it with some humor. I think, like just like there's a ridiculousness of this entire situation that cannot be ignored. So I'm just kind of like, okay, like let's go in and be logical, and I promise not to embarrass us.
Cool.
Um, but I went back, and anytime well, actually, when I'm gonna say it, I always get paranoid. But nonetheless, I think we're ready, and any support that you guys can provide in person or in Zoom, obviously in person is always impactful.
Yep.
We think between all of the committees involved, we think we should have a pretty decent show up. Um, because again, it's stewardship, it's open space. The open space one's going to be tough too. It's rec. I'm sorry, not rec. CPC and Shop C. So I haven't heard anything other than that. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. So I don't know where Johanna is, but and I feel like she was very passionate about having this meeting to brainstorm to recruit new members.
Did we get
Uh,
our have we posted or whatever that we need new members?
No, I
no,
think we're going to brainstorm that.
yeah,
Okay. I
I
was
wonder,
glad.
Jen, just a brainstorming idea to pull this together.
yep,
What if we each joined recreation for a reason,
yep,
and I think we each personally have reasons why we might think it's time for a new generation as we launch on these new, the next phase, if you will, of recreation. Facilities was big, getting our
Yep.
fields up to date, getting our track up to date. That's as long as we keep with our rest and our planning. We probably have to set up making sure we have some sort of regular routine checks of that and making sure that, everything's happening as it should and that we're on, we have the track replacement way down the road in the capital plan. But like for the most part, what we've been leading the charge on's done. And so I think if we each wrote our paragraph about like why we joined rec and then the transition and why it's time to transition.
Yep.
And then we could just kind of push them together and then make them into one cohesive article. That's
Okay.
one idea.
No, I like that. And then we could then we could have parts of that, and then we could dovetail into like what's coming next. What do we, here's some big projects if you're passionate about, would love to have you steward them through rec.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, what are those big projects that we'd want to call out? Like if we think about like who we want. I mean, like I feel like when we've filled roles before, we've been like, we need some skill sets to diversify the commission. So what do we think some of those projects are or skill sets that we'd want? And I'm just taking a bunch of notes that I'll send around after this as well.
Well,
just brainstorm.
Dawn, remind me your position last time we met in terms of you didn't want chair. I know that.
Well, look, so Jen needs to go. I don't want to be the chair, but there's not a lot of choice, right? So I like the role that I've had, which is, whenever there's a financial need, I hop in. We need to go to advisory. You need me to go to the town meeting, whatever. Like, I'm on it. Like, crunch some numbers, give somebody a hard time about attacking the revolving fund, then I'm all for it. I'm just not. And look, setting up the meetings and taking the minutes, no big deal. I don't want to engage with people in the town government, which I believe is one of the roles of and you're probably in the same camp, Kristen, but
yeah,
that's the part that like I quickly figured out that if that was where I was going to be headed, that would not work out very well for anyone. I just don't have Jen's tolerance and temperament.
well, it's exhausting, right? Which is why I need a break. So
God knows I don't.
Yeah. So that's the like at the core of it, we need somebody who actually wants to be involved in town government. Like we don't need another volunteer sort of recreational. I mean, to some extent they have to have that sort of mindset, but like really want somebody who wants to be engaged, in the intricacies of town government. That's at the that has to be in the description.
Yep. Okay.
Because that's the piece that I'm not sure that that takes a little bit more like, yeah, I want to do it. This is my way to get in. If you want to get into town government, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
we're learning that you don't want to.
The other angle we could take though is like we really need representation in this whole Neary school fiasco. Like that's gonna be the next big thing, right? Like the town is very split on this whole build.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
and that all will have an impact on rec.
Yep.
So is there someone who is familiar with that might care about the impact to rec? I don't even know who's on that committee, but
so I'm supposed to be the representative.
Yep.
Jason has not responded to our email. I was going to reach out, but I think before I do, I have to make a decision whether I'm continuing with rec. I think it would be not great of me to sit on that or to put my name and try to force myself onto the committee if I'm not going to be a part of rec. And so I think that's where I haven't kind of like bursted my way like through yet. So yeah. And then the second thing with the Neary School Building Committee, there's a very good chance that starting next year, I'm not going to have any kids in the school system. And so
Well, that makes sense. I mean, we understand that.
Yeah, so that's actually the reason why. So my passion is education and my passion is school committee. And so I will sit in a boring school committee meeting any single day, but this is why I ended up taking my name off of the ballot, is because I'm probably not going to have any kids in the districts. So I
Yeah.
decided I don't want to be on school committee when I don't have any kids who are going to be benefiting from the system, at least not immediately.
Well, and I also think it makes sense because, people would be like, well, why is she, if it's a controversial decision, then they're going to come after you and be like, she doesn't even have people in the, like that's how the town works, right? Even though you would have the town's best interests in mind.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't hold water because there's so many people on school committee who
Yeah.
do not have kids in the system right now. Their kids have grown and have maybe gone through decades ago.
Challenge. Yeah.
But have nobody in. So it doesn't really hold water. People can pound their chest and say that, but it doesn't really. But for me, I think that people who serve on school committee should have kids in the system personally. So living by my own value system, I have
I
not put
respect
myself
that.
up for. I have not put myself up for school committee because of that reason.
Oh, totally respect that.
Yeah.
Who?
So with that said, I am open to myself being replaced as the candidate that Recreation Committee puts up to be on the Nary Building Committee. Because I think Malinowski has added me anyhow.
So back in the day, the reason Dawn heard about recreation is because, we would speak about it at the soccer coach kickoff meeting. And I think like me and Dave Candela were there and talking about what we wanted to do. And we mentioned turf, and Dawn, I think that's when you got involved.
Yep.
Plus you knew financially we needed some help after
Yeah,
the town meeting presentation.
I went to that town meeting where we got skewered, and I was like, all right, I can help.
Yeah. So do we need to get back in front of some youth sports groups and lay out what we've done and what's to come? I do think the in-person opportunities are good. Unfortunately, we're going into the summer, so there will be no opportunities. The next
We
coaches
could also,
meeting.
I mean, like, but if we had the right like email drafted, right? Or if we have a couple different like email pitches, like maybe one is something that we asked the blog to post, and one is kind of a email petition to sports in town, right? Because we've got soccer, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, right? Like to explain what we've been doing, how we've been partnering with them, and like what's upcoming and how like they could get involved, and maybe like see if they'll send it out to their parents, right? Um, I mean, there's plenty of times Rec has sent out stuff on their behalf, so maybe they can help that way.
I think that's a good idea.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think getting it out there on social media, getting it out there in places like, I don't know how much um, viewership it actually gets, but like I know I look at my Southborough every single night. So my Southborough Advocate. There's a couple of other places when I was on the NSPAC board that anytime we'd try to promote an event that was coming up, we had kind of a list of local publications that we would blast our communication out to. So I can certainly get that list. And if we have almost like an ad, like searching for new rec committee members, we can maybe like just promote it as wide as we possibly can within the town of Southborough, as many eyes as we can. On the town of Southborough website, I've been told by a few people that I should be looking at that website more often than I do. At the bottom, there's news and promotions. And so we can ask the town to put it on the town of Southborough website as well.
Yep.
One other thing I wanted to mention is I did have, on an unrelated topic, I had like an hour conversation with the director of the senior center, Pam, and I did mention to her that we were potentially wondering if there was somebody from the committee on aging or whatever it's called, the senior center committee, of which I
Yep.
think Pam is either a chair, a vice chair. She's like some sort of significant member. And she loved the idea of bringing it back to her committee to get a representative from that committee to be on rec as well.
Yep.
That way we kind of cover the senior person. So once we have whatever that ad or whatever that write-up for a rec committee member, we can send it to her and then she can bring it and actually in committee like what we do or like what you do, Jen, where you say who
Yep.
wants to be on this committee or that committee, they can appoint somebody if we're open to that.
Yeah, and I think like that would just be a so it's not like a designated seat to them, but we'd love for one of them to join us, or even like someone within the senior community, and then it would
Yeah,
just go through the regular appointment with select board. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, awesome. Um, cool. Okay, so then, so for our list of projects, I've got our dog park, I've got our field maintenance fund that's new, and kind of like that partnership with DPW. The potential for a new community center pending NERI. So we have like the impact of NERI on like recreation facilities. There's like potential or still potential turf at Woodward.
You got the Union, what is it, Union Street, or you got our monitoring the situation with our building.
Oh yeah. Yep, South Union building.
Yep. Community center, if that ever comes about.
Yeah.
Yep.
ADA compliance.
And
Oh,
then,
that's right. That was the other big one we said. Yeah.
then we have a new director.
Yep. Yep. And I'm pretty sure with the ADA compliance that there were some I know we have some funding still earmarked that we're still spending through, but I also believe that Tim worked with Town Hall to apply for incremental grants as well. So there could be more funding come through for ADA.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking the day that I'd forgotten about, but there's work going on at the baseball field at Trottier, that far field out behind the track. Remember
Softball
they were
field,
going to put
they're
in
putting the
shed,
batting
batting
cage.
cage,
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. That we need to keep an eye on. Because like Tim was going to shepherd that through planning. So
Has that work started or is it just kind of in the idea phase?
I don't know if that is one actually I'm gonna text him and ask him what that handoff was.
Okay.
Because the shed has to go through planning and Tim was going to do that work, so I'm assuming it hasn't been done. Yeah, okay. Alrighty.
And then is rec responsible for, I know like what do you call it? That late August festival with the
Yep,
fireworks,
summer nights.
summer nights. Is
Yep.
that the rec department? That's the rec department, right?
Yep.
And
They do.
what about the weekly or bi-weekly summer concerts?
That's rec also.
That's
Yep.
rec also. Okay.
Yep. And Heritage Day, all the parades, all that stuff goes through rec.
Okay. So if somebody, like, these are the types of things that are like super meaningful for all families.
Yep.
So if somebody wants to come in and, just try to make incremental improvements or wants to see something different relative to kind of our town social events, somebody might be geared to do that.
Yep.
Talking about summer nights, did Tim get summer nights like all planned before he left? Like, is that all set?
It was a good chunk of the way. So Denise in the office has done this for several years now for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it is all planned. Last I heard, like the last couple donation checks were coming in, and they were meeting with was it public safety and all of that event management end of June, and then they'll meet them again early August. But otherwise, I think that is good to go. So yeah, they're on top of those.
That's awesome. Great, great.
Cool.
So, I mean, I just think there is a lot of opportunity if people want to and are invested to make an impact that they could.
Yep. Okay. So then I guess so we need to draft up like probably like a core document and then use it to be able to break it apart into smaller pieces and kind of like syndicate this content across all these different places to start like drumming this up. Does anyone feel passionate about doing that wants to take this or take the first pass at it?
So, are you thinking like a PowerPoint or like a Canva presentation?
I guess I was initially just thinking like written, you know, kind of like this is who we are, this is some of the things we've done over the last couple of years. And at like, because so before you jumped on, we were talking about like this kind of like a natural reflection and like transition point of like there's some really big stuff that the a bunch of the current members have done that we've got to completed, and now we're staring down a bunch of new projects and new opportunities and kind of like sharing what those are, what it means, and like what we're looking for in new committee members. But I think like I guess my thought is what we're gonna post on like Southborough Karen Share is not the same as what we're gonna post on like my Southborough, you know? So we could start drafting up like a master document and then figure out how to break it up and and turn it into
Pretty posters.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm willing to work on it.
Okay.
I'm willing to make pretty posters on Canva.
Awesome. So the biggest thing is so Kristen and Joanna, you guys can work on it. We just cannot collaborate as a commission. So if two of you want to go work on this, that's fine. I mean, I feel like I trust our commission to represent us, so like I'm fine with that. But if you'd want to get like feedback from us, we'd have to post a meeting to have that conversation. Just
Yep.
What about if you create like a Google document and people are working on the shared Google document?
we can't have more than two of us because three will hit quorum and we break open meeting law. So
I feel like we need to revisit that one. That was always a little bit murky.
I know, but we don't need.
Yeah.
And like, so this is definitely something like, I mean, whenever I have these questions, I call Jim Hegarty Town Hall, right? Town clerk office. He's the expert. He will tell you. And I know I feel like there's some groups that do this, but I feel like it is a gray area, and like we don't need to get ourselves into trouble.
So, okay. Okay.
But if you guys want to collaborate on the first pass, that
Yeah.
works. And I can send you these meeting notes.
Yep.
Yep. In the meeting notes, does it have all the stuff that's been completed the past like 2 to 3 years?
Do we have
No,
access to Tim's annual letters?
yeah. Tim's annual reports will definitely have it. I bet I can even find his Word docs and send it to you guys. So
Every year the director has to write up a summary of everything that was accomplished. So it's already
Okay.
documented.
yep.
We just need to know where the documents are.
Yeah, he's got, and he left them all. You
Yeah.
may be able to find them in the office.
He actually gave me access to his files, so I
Yeah.
can go look in his files and find it, and they're very organized. So I'll look for them tonight and send them to you guys.
Okay. And then at some point I remember like searching around in it. At some point we did create a Google Drive, didn't we? Where we had
Yeah,
access to the
yep.
documents in Google Drive. So even if you put it like in the Google Drive and then send us a link to where you put it
Yep.
on the Google Drive, at least all the documents are together like in one place.
Yep. I'll send you that link. That's the town's OneDrive
Oh,
that
yeah.
I believe is public to anyone with a town email address. So that's
Perfect.
where I store all of our meeting minutes and everything. And it's within Tim's drive. So yep.
Perfect.
I will do that. Cool. All right. So then are we good here for tonight? We can call it
Gotta get going. Yeah.
6
Yeah.
o'clock. Yeah. I gotta go meet our director, or
You want
hopefully our new
to go get in the front row? Is that, Chris? I mean, I'll see you
Oh,
over
yeah.
there, but I may not sit in the front row.
Good
No,
luck
100%.
tonight, guys.
Are you kidding me? I absolutely plan to get as close to the front as I can. I want to look them in the face.
Cool.
Well,
Alrighty. Then we will
All right.
adjourn at 6 o'clock.
See you over
Bye,
there.
guys.
Bye, guys.
sounds good. All right. Bye.